game of Believe It or Not. Teddy, if I said the Steelers should re-sign Russell Wilson instead of taking the risk on Rodgers, believe it or not?
Still happen, I guess, but I'd say not. I want to see Aaron with these two receivers if they keep them both in Pickens and Metcalf. I think it's a great situation for Aaron to pair up with Mike Tomlin, a good defense. I mean, I want to see it. I would say I want to get Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, not Russell Wilson.
What are they, D. Wood? If I were to give you a mathematical equation and say the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we generally know them now, plus Aaron Rodgers, what do they equal?
Same thing they were last year.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
No better than that.
Same thing they were last year.
It's a playoff team, but in the playoffs, I would say the potential is higher in terms of what Aaron can do with that offense.
The playoffs come at the end of a full season for a guy that will be 42 by then. I mean, that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like you already see the Steelers kind of wear down as the season goes along. So to bring in an older quarterback, I'm not sure that changes much. And again, I will continue to make this point. They have other stuff to do. They are not a ready-made plug-in quarterback and win team. They have a lot of work to do on the offensive line. They have to build a running game, and they really need to start working on that defense because it's starting to show some age in some key plays.
Well, the only place that theoretically is available for quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, you would say to yourself, is a quarterback away, might be Minnesota. And they seem very unlikely, for all the reasons we've described, and Dan Orlovsky, you said it earlier, to be interested in Rodgers. So it seems to me that of all the options Rodgers likely has in front of him, Pittsburgh is overwhelmingly the best one. So what do you think he could get done there, Dan?
Yeah, I would put them in the second tier, and I would agree with both comments. Playoff football team, a little bit elevated in the playoffs because of Rodgers. To Teddy's point, I think clearly the AFC, and there's a long offseason left, is still Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore at the top, and maybe Denver and the Chargers. And then I would put the Steelers into that group. I think the interesting questions still remaining are, one, what kind of offense stylistically do they want to play? If you're going to tell me that they still want to go back to what they were last year when Russell took over and they're just going to throw go balls, well, then I would tell you Russell Wilson. There's probably not a better still go ball or deep ball thrower than Russell Wilson. If you look at the numbers, Russell was the best go ball thrower in the NFL last year. But if you want to sit there and go, well, we can't beat really good football teams doing just that, then I do think the answer is Aaron Rodgers. And so I think stylistically, it's a big question mark of how they want to play offense.
All right, we'll wait and see if that gets done. I continue to say the longer it goes on, the more it makes me suspect that there may be something else Rodgers is waiting to see if it materializes, but that's just me guessing. Orlovsky, let's continue with Believe It or Not. If someone were to say the Vikings made a mistake letting Sam Darnold leave, you believe it or not?
Not. Listen, I love Sam Darnold. I know this, and since 2020, quarterback, wide receiver combination, the best one is Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson as far as yards per game, and then it's Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. The reality is this: Justin Jefferson's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and Kevin O'Connell's as good an offensive coordinator, play caller as there is in the NFL right now. They'll be just fine with J.J. McCarthy offensively and all the money that they'll save.
To be clear, or Graziano, the plan in Minnesota, as we understand it, is to find someone to complement. Let's face it, back up J.J. McCarthy, right? They're ready to go to the kid.
But they want to go to him when he is ready.
Right.
And he's coming off an injury. So they want to allow for the possibility that he needs more time. So it's, yes, backup, but also somebody who can play in the meantime if he's not ready to go right away.
The physical rehabilitation is the biggest question in my mind with J.J. McCarthy. I mean, the Vikings, they better be right. This is where you can't be wrong in terms of you feel like you're ready to turn the key, give the keys over to this kid, and he can handle everything that there is to be for this type of team and in this type of division. I mean, playing against, so can he take it all and go with it? That's you better be right about this because you had Sam Darnold, and I can't get out of my mind Sam Darnold being lifted in the locker room after that one game. I mean, what that team felt about Sam Darnold. That said a lot to me.
Unfortunately, they never won again after this happened.
Sure, still. So, I mean, you go up against two of the better teams in the league, right? In the Lions and the Rams you're talking about when they lose, right? But this right here, sometimes players tell you. Sometimes players tell you who they would rather have moving forward. This was cool, man. I really love that moment, and this is what JJ's got to get to.
I think for me, the question I have with J.J. McCarthy, is he going to be rehabbing this offseason or actually working on becoming a better quarterback? You know, usually you go from year 1 to year 2. That's usually when you make your biggest jump. So I'm just curious. It's like, is this guy ready to go now? Because I think part of the quarterback discussion that we're having, if he's the guy that's working on his craft, then maybe you're just focusing on getting a backup. But if he's not healthy, you got to bring in a guy that can play, that could possibly play right now.
Go ahead, Danny.
That's the thinking, right? Like that's what they want to allow for the possibility that it's anywhere on that spectrum.
Go ahead, Dan.
I remind everybody last year he was trending to be the starter. Or at least very much so in that conversation. This wasn't Sam Darnold's job, and it wasn't even close. McCarthy, in only one preseason game, lit it up. And I understand it's a preseason, but that was coming off of at least the reports, and Grass can speak to him better than I, lighting it up in practice, and then he goes into the preseason game and lit it up. He will be absolutely ready. I'm not speaking to his health, but his capability and his ability to play, again, so everyone understands, in the last 4 years or 5 years, the quarterback-wide receiver combination that had the most yards per game was Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. 6th on that list is Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. The quarterback play in Minnesota will be fine.
Yeah, there's a theme of commonality there. Let's go to the third one here, D. Wood, and that is about the New York Jets. If someone were to say the Jets have found their long-term answer at quarterback in Justin Fields, do you believe it or not?
Not, absolutely not. But listen, but you know, this is not to disparage Justin Fields because I think he's going into a great situation for him. He'll have an opportunity this year to prove that, hey, maybe I could be the long-term guy in New York. And here's the thing that I'm curious about. We know that Aaron Glenn has talked about he wants the mobile quarterback. They're going to run the football. Yeah. How are they going to cater this offense around Justin Fields' skill set is going to determine how much success that he's going to have running this offense. I could see something where they build it like when Lamar Jackson came to Baltimore. Like that, I could see something like that happen to help this young man get going in this year with the Jets running that offense.
Here's what I will say. The best running quarterback, the quarterback who runs with the football the best in the NFL is Lamar Jackson. I believe if given the opportunity, Justin Fields could be next. I think he's that dynamic with the ball in his hands. It's different from Josh Allen, but candidly, Josh Allen isn't that much bigger than Justin Fields. Justin is way bigger than people realize that he is. Justin, look, people are asking me, everyone is asking me what I think of this move. I don't like it. I love it. And here's why. Because I checked. Josh Allen wasn't available. Joe Burrow wasn't available. This was overwhelmingly the best the Jets were going to do under the circumstances they found themselves going into this offseason. It is also a commitment with almost no risk. Yeah. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you leave wide open your optionality. This, for all intents and purposes, is a one-year commitment to seeing if you can make this work with Justin Fields. I think there was one other really big question that we'll answer in a minute. But first off, I will say this. I have been a believer in Justin Fields going back to his days at Ohio State. I think he has the moxie, the personality, the makeup, and the athleticism. We will see if he is able, in this opportunity, which I think the Jets are going to give him, and to some degree he's never really had. When he got drafted in Chicago, the people who took over in his second year, he wasn't their guy, and it was never going to work. In Pittsburgh, it was never going to work. They never wanted him to be the starting